Is the royal family on the brink of an unprecedented public meltdown? Imagine a world where centuries of tradition, protocol, and secrecy crumble in real time, exposing a side of the monarchy that has long been hidden behind gilded doors. This is not a fictional drama or the latest streaming sensation. It is the reality now facing the House of Windsor. In a move that has stunned royal watchers worldwide, Princess, and often dubbed the most disciplined and no-nonsense member of the family, has announced a legal investigation into Archewell, the charitable organization founded by Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. This revelation alone would be enough to send ripples through Buckingham Palace and the global media. But the story doesn't end there. As if to add another twist to this complex tapestry, Meghan Markle is now facing a significant lawsuit, bringing the Sussexes under scrutiny from multiple angles. While reports confirm that the Sussex divorce, long rumored in tabloids and whispered about in palace corridors, is finally official. But before we continue, please subscribe and turn on the notification bell for updates. The convergence of these events raises questions that are impossible to ignore. What triggered Princess Anne's probe at this particular moment? How will the lawsuit against Meghan unfold? And what could it reveal about the Sussexes' finances, public conduct, or private dealings? And perhaps most dramatically, what does the confirmed divorce mean for the power dynamics and public image of one of the most scrutinized royal couples in modern history? These are not mere hypotheticals. They are real, ongoing events that could redefine the perception of the monarchy on a global scale. To understand the gravity of these developments, it's essential to take a closer look at the players involved. Princess Anne, the Princess Royal, has long been respected for her unwavering commitment to duty and her meticulous attention to detail. Unlike other members of the royal family who often navigate public opinion with careful PR strategies, Anne's reputation has been built on action and accountability. She is the sort of person who examines every angle, who ensures that standards are maintained, and who is unafraid to confront uncomfortable truths. Her decision to initiate a legal review of Archewell signals more than a routine investigation. It suggests a serious concern regarding compliance, transparency, and potentially the integrity of operations linked to the Sussexes' charitable activities. Archewell itself has always been surrounded by a halo of optimism and media-friendly messaging. Launched as a philanthropic endeavor to champion social justice, education, and community initiatives, the organization was meant to reflect the couple's progressive values and humanitarian ambitions. Yet beneath the public-facing narrative, whispers of internal discord and financial mismanagement have persisted. Former associates and anonymous insiders have hinted at challenges ranging from organizational inefficiency to opaque financial practices. The timing of Princess Anne's legal probe suggests that these issues are no longer speculative. They are now matters of formal concern that require scrutiny at the highest level. At the same time, Meghan Markle finds herself navigating treacherous waters. The recent lawsuit is not a minor legal scuffle. It threatens to expose personal, financial, and professional vulnerabilities in the public eye. Court filings, while often dry and procedural, can reveal intimate details of relationships, agreements, and actions that were never intended for public consumption. For someone whose public image has been carefully curated over years of interviews, documentaries, and appearances, the stakes are extraordinarily high. Questions abound. What are the claims being made? How credible are they? And crucially, how will the unfolding legal battle affect Meghan's brand, reputation, and her role within the royal ecosystem? Adding further drama to this unfolding saga is the confirmation of the Sussex divorce. Rumors had swirled for months, amplified by tabloid speculation and cryptic social media posts. Yet the official acknowledgement marks a watershed moment in the couple's narrative. Divorce in itself is a deeply personal affair, but when it occurs under the unrelenting gaze of the global public, it becomes a spectacle laden with judgment, conjecture, and consequence. How did the marriage deteriorate to this point? Were there irreconcilable differences, external pressures, or a combination of both? And perhaps most pressing, how will this divorce alter the couple's standing within the royal family and the broader public consciousness? These intersecting stories, Princess Anne's legal probe, Meghan Markle's lawsuit, and the Sussex divorce, create a narrative web that is as complex as it is captivating. Each event amplifies the others, creating a feedback loop of scandal, speculation, and intrigue. To the casual observer, it might seem like a sequence of unfortunate coincidences or media sensationalism. But for those who follow the royal family closely, the implications are profound. They signal a potential shift in power dynamics, a reassessment of reputations, and perhaps a rewriting of the rules by which the monarchy has operated for generations. It is impossible to overstate the significance of timing in this story. The announcement of Princess Anne's probe coincides with a period of heightened scrutiny of the Sussexes, particularly in relation to their financial dealings and charitable activities. Simultaneously, the legal action against Meghan has emerged amid a media landscape that is more voracious and relentless than ever before. These converging pressures place both the royal institution and the individuals involved under an unprecedented microscope. Every statement, every decision, and every revelation will be dissected, analyzed, and amplified. For the public, the appeal of this story lies not only in its scandalous elements, but also in its human dimensions. At its core, this is a narrative about ambition, loyalty, accountability, and the consequences of choices made under extraordinary circumstances. It is about the tension between personal desires and institutional expectations, between public persona and private reality. How do individuals navigate fame, power, and scrutiny when every action is a potential headline? How do centuries-old traditions intersect with modern expectations of transparency and ethics? These are questions that resonate far beyond the gilded halls of Buckingham Palace. They speak to the universal challenges of reputation, responsibility, and resilience. The media plays a crucial role in shaping how this story is perceived. Coverage ranges from reverential profiles of royal duty to sensationalist speculation about scandals and betrayals. Social media amplifies every twist and turn, turning private disputes into viral conversations and collective debates. Analysts dissect each development with a fine-tooth comb, often drawing comparisons to historical precedents, past divorces, and prior royal controversies. The global attention transforms personal matters into public spectacle, creating layers of pressure that few outside the royal orbit can fully comprehend. Yet, for all the scrutiny and speculation, the narrative remains incomplete. Key details remain hidden behind palace walls, locked within legal documents, and shrouded in secrecy. Insiders speak cautiously, documents leak sporadically, and statements are crafted with careful attention to diplomacy and optics. The gaps in knowledge, however, are precisely what make this story compelling. They allow for the creation of suspense, anticipation, and emotional engagement. Each revelation carries the weight of consequence because it has the potential to shift the trajectory of the narrative dramatically. As we prepare to delve deeper into this complex saga, one fact becomes abundantly clear. The events surrounding Princess and Archewell, Meghan Markle, and the Sussex divorce are not isolated incidents. They are part of a broader narrative about power, accountability, and public perception. The legal probe, the lawsuit, and the divorce intersect in ways that will shape the future of the royal family, influence public discourse, and potentially redefine how the monarchy engages with the modern world. And yet, even as we outline the known facts, the story is far from complete. There are hidden dynamics, undisclosed motivations, and potential revelations that could turn the narrative on its head. The intersection of law, finance, family, and public scrutiny ensures that every development carries the possibility of surprise. The questions that remain unanswered about intentions, consequences, and future outcomes create a suspenseful undercurrent that demands attention. But what came next would change everything, and no one saw it coming. Is Princess Anne about to reshape the very rules that govern the royal family? For decades, she has been known as the Princess Royal, a figure of discipline, duty, and quiet authority. While other royals navigate public perception with calculated smiles and carefully timed interviews, Anne has consistently acted with precision, transparency, and a commitment to accountability. And now, in a move that has stunned observers worldwide, she has launched a legal probe into Archewell, the Sussexes charitable organization. But this isn't just another procedural review. It is a statement, a signal that the old rules may no longer apply when actions raise questions of integrity, compliance, or transparency. The announcement came suddenly, delivered through formal channels, yet rippling instantly through social media, news outlets, and palace corridors alike. It was a reminder that, no matter the glamour, the royal family operates under strict codes of conduct, with mechanisms for oversight and accountability that can be activated when circumstances demand. For Archewell, this probe marks the first time its operations are being scrutinized by someone within the monarchy with the authority and resolve to act decisively. To understand the gravity of this investigation, it's necessary to examine Princess and herself, often described as one of the hardest-working royals, and has a reputation for diligence and meticulous attention to detail. She is the sort of leader who reads every report, questions assumptions, and ensures that standards are maintained. Unlike her more publicly visible relatives, and rarely engages in media dramatics or self-promotion, her influence is exercised quietly but firmly. When she chooses to act, it is usually after thorough consideration, suggesting that the decision to open a legal probe into Archewell was not made lightly. Archewell, meanwhile, was founded by Meghan Markle and Prince Harry as a platform to channel their influence toward humanitarian causes. Publicly, it has been framed as an organization dedicated to social impact, education, and community engagement. Media coverage has often highlighted the couple's commitment to progressive values and global philanthropy. Yet, beneath the surface, questions have persisted regarding operational transparency, organizational structure, and financial management. Whispers of internal discord and misaligned priorities have circulated for years, though they have rarely surfaced in a form that could be formally verified. Princess Anne's involvement transforms these rumors from speculative whispers into matters requiring formal examination. What exactly triggered this legal action? While official statements remain carefully phrased, insiders suggest several possible catalysts. Concerns could range from financial irregularities or reporting discrepancies to broader issues of governance and accountability. In high-profile organizations, especially those associated with figures of public influence, even minor lapses can attract attention, and when they intersect with the reputation of the royal family, the stakes become extraordinarily high. Every financial transaction, every contractual agreement, and every internal communication now carries the weight of scrutiny. The probe also raises questions about timing. Why now? Analysts speculate that the convergence of several factors, heightened media attention on the Sussexes, growing public curiosity about their operations, and recent legal challenges faced by Meghan, created a perfect storm requiring intervention. Princess Anne, known for her keen sense of timing and awareness of the broader implications of royal actions, may have perceived a need to act decisively before concerns escalated further. This is not simply about protocol. It is about preserving institutional integrity in a rapidly evolving public environment. The historical context is equally important. Royal investigations and reviews are rare, but they are not unprecedented. In the past, members of the royal family have initiated inquiries to address concerns ranging from financial management to public conduct. What makes Princess Anne's current probe especially noteworthy is that it targets an organization founded by a member of the immediate family who has chosen to step back from traditional royal duties. This adds layers of complexity, blending personal relationships with institutional accountability. The tension between family loyalty and duty to the crown is palpable, and the outcomes of this investigation could have implications not just for Archewell, but for the entire monarchy. Legal experts emphasize that the structure of the investigation is crucial. A formal probe allows for a systematic examination of records, governance practices, and financial operations. It also establishes a clear channel for accountability, signaling to stakeholders, both internal and external, that concerns are being addressed with rigor and seriousness. In this context, Princess Anne's decision can be seen as both protective and proactive. Protective of the royal institution's reputation and proactive in ensuring that standards are upheld. Yet, there is also a human element to consider. For Meghan and Harry, the probe represents an additional layer of pressure at a time when their public image, business ventures, and personal lives are already under intense scrutiny. The intersection of legal review, media attention, and public expectation can create a feedback loop of stress, misperception, and reputational risk. How will they respond? Will they cooperate fully, resist, or seek to manage the narrative through public statements and media appearances? Each choice carries consequences, both practical and symbolic. The announcement also provokes broader questions about the role of the monarchy in modern society. The royal family occupies a unique position, part ceremonial, part administrative, and part symbolic. Their actions are scrutinized globally, and the expectations placed upon them are often contradictory. They must uphold centuries-old traditions while adapting to contemporary norms of transparency and accountability. Princess Anne's probe embodies this tension. On one hand, it reflects a commitment to timeless standards of responsibility. On the other, it demonstrates an awareness that in today's media-saturated world, even the smallest lapse can become a public spectacle with far-reaching consequences. Media response to the probe has been instantaneous and multifaceted. Headlines range from cautious analysis of procedural implications to sensationalist speculation about internal palace conflicts. Social media amplifies every nuance, turning formal announcements into viral talking points, memes, and debates. Analysts dissect language, timing, and historical precedent to predict potential outcomes. Even among seasoned commentators, there is a sense that this probe could set new standards for accountability within the monarchy, particularly regarding the activities of members who have chosen alternative public roles. Equally fascinating are the questions this investigation raises about public perception. The Sussexes have cultivated a narrative emphasizing their independence, philanthropy, and commitment to social causes. Yet, public opinion remains divided. Some view the couple as modernizing forces within a rigid institution, while others perceive them as disruptive or self-promoting. Princess Anne's probe intersects with these perceptions, potentially validating some criticisms while raising further questions for supporters. How will this affect the couple's credibility, both within the United Kingdom and internationally? The answers remain uncertain, but the stakes are undeniably high. The probe's implications extend beyond Archewell itself. It signals to other royal foundations, charitable organizations, and public-facing initiatives that scrutiny is real, formal, and potentially consequential. The royal family is sending a clear message. Standards must be maintained, accountability cannot be optional, and even high-profile individuals are not immune to review. In this way, Princess Anne's actions have institutional significance, reinforcing norms that could influence behavior across a broad spectrum of royal and philanthropic activity. As the investigation unfolds, attention will inevitably turn to the documents, communications, and decisions under review. Financial statements, board meeting minutes, and correspondence may all become focal points, revealing insights into organizational priorities, internal challenges, and decision-making processes. The possibility of surprises, unexpected revelations, contradictions, or overlooked details adds to the tension. Observers are keenly aware that in cases involving high-profile figures, the smallest piece of evidence can have outsized consequences. Yet for all the procedural detail, there is also an emotional dimension. Princess Anne's involvement transforms what might otherwise be a routine review into a drama of human relationships, family expectations, and the exercise of authority. Loyalty, trust, and personal history intersect with formal obligations, creating a narrative rich with conflict, tension, and potential fallout. How will family members reconcile competing demands of duty and personal sentiment? Will the Sussexes see this as an affront, an opportunity, or a challenge to navigate with diplomacy? The answers are as unpredictable as they are consequential. The broader context cannot be ignored. The monarchy, long a symbol of continuity, tradition, and stability, is being tested in real time. Public expectations, media scrutiny, and global attention create an environment in which every action is amplified, every decision dissected, and every outcome debated. Princess Anne's legal probe exemplifies this dynamic, highlighting the delicate balance between institutional authority and personal discretion, between tradition and adaptation, between privacy and transparency. The stakes are high, the pressures immense, and the potential consequences far-reaching. Archewell's operations, the Sussexes' public image, and the monarchy's reputation are all intertwined in a complex web that is only beginning to unravel. Each development raises new questions, and each answer promises further surprises. But what came next would change everything, and no one saw it coming. The story of Archewell is often told as a modern fairy tale, a high-profile couple stepping away from centuries of royal protocol to create a philanthropic empire built on empathy, social justice, and global impact. Yet, behind the glossy media releases and curated Instagram posts lies a far more complex and, at times, turbulent reality. Archewell, launched by Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, promised to be a beacon of positive change, but recent developments suggest that the organization is now under intense scrutiny that could reveal cracks in what once seemed an unassailable image. From the outset, Archewell was positioned as an innovative approach to philanthropy. Meghan and Harry's vision was clear: create an organization that leveraged their influence for meaningful societal change. The brand was modern, accessible, and media-savvy. Yet for all its carefully crafted public image, questions about Archewell's internal operations, governance, and finances have persisted almost from its inception. Former employees, anonymous insiders, and media commentators have hinted at challenges ranging from leadership conflicts to unclear financial practices. To fully understand the gravity of the current scrutiny, it's important to examine the founding of Archewell. In early 2020, following their decision to step back from senior royal duties, Meghan and Harry announced the organization with considerable fanfare. Its name, Archewell, was symbolic, derived from Greek and English roots meant to convey action and purpose. The launch was accompanied by a highly orchestrated media campaign, emphasizing the couple's commitment to social impact, community initiatives, and advocacy on issues ranging from mental health to equality. Public reception was initially enthusiastic. The narrative of royals reinventing themselves for modern philanthropy captured global attention. However, enthusiasm was soon tempered by operational realities. Building a nonprofit from scratch is rarely a straightforward endeavor, and the challenges of leadership, strategy, and accountability quickly emerged. Former insiders describe a fast-paced, high-pressure environment where expectations often outpaced resources. Organizational roles were sometimes ambiguous, priorities shifted rapidly, and internal communications suffered as the leadership team navigated the demands of high-profile visibility while trying to maintain focus on mission-driven work. Financial transparency has been one of the most contentious aspects of Archewell. While public filings have demonstrated revenue streams and charitable contributions, skeptics have questioned the allocation of funds, operational expenditures, and compensation structures. Some observers argue that the organization's high media profile may have inadvertently created a perception of impropriety, even if none exists. Others contend that structural and procedural weaknesses could open the door to genuine concerns, especially under the heightened scrutiny of a legal probe. The media's role in shaping the narrative cannot be overstated. Archewell's story has been dissected, analyzed, and sensationalized across multiple platforms. Some outlets have painted the organization as a symbol of progressive modernity, a philanthropic model for the 21st century. Others have framed it as emblematic of excess, mismanagement, or self-promotion. Social media has amplified every narrative, transforming internal challenges into public debates and raising questions about credibility, effectiveness, and accountability. Every press release, Instagram post, and public appearance is dissected, compared, and critiqued, creating an environment where perception is as important as reality. This tension between perception and reality is further complicated by the couple's decision to step back from royal duties. By leaving the traditional structures of monarchy behind, Meghan and Harry relinquished institutional support while simultaneously retaining global influence. This duality created both opportunities and vulnerabilities. They could innovate freely, yet they were also exposed to unprecedented levels of public and legal scrutiny. Archewell became a test case, not just for the couple, but for the broader question of how modern royals can engage in philanthropy while maintaining transparency and credibility. The timing of Princess Anne's legal probe adds another layer of intensity. Whereas prior concerns about Archewell may have remained speculative or internal, The involvement of a senior royal transforms perception into formalized scrutiny. No longer is Archewell simply a media story or a private initiative. It is now subject to the standards, expectations, and potential consequences imposed by one of the most disciplined members of the royal family. This represents a seismic shift in the organization's operational landscape, signaling that internal practices, governance, and financial decisions will be examined with unprecedented rigor. Internal challenges at Archewell have reportedly been multifaceted. Some former staff describe a culture of high expectations coupled with ambiguity about decision-making authority. Projects were sometimes launched without fully articulated plans, leading to frustration and misalignment. In addition, balancing public visibility with operational effectiveness proved challenging. Every initiative, from charitable campaigns to media partnerships, was subject to intense scrutiny, creating pressure on staff and leadership alike. These dynamics, while not unusual in high-profile organizations, become magnified when the organization is tied to public figures of global significance. Another dimension of concern is the intersection of philanthropy and media strategy. Archewell's public messaging often emphasized empowerment, impact, and inclusivity. Yet critics have argued that messaging sometimes outpaced tangible outcomes, creating a perception gap between intent and execution. Social media campaigns, interviews, and documentaries amplified the brand's visibility, but they also exposed it to heightened evaluation. The question arises, when influence and intention collide with governance and accountability, how can organizations navigate scrutiny without compromising their mission? Financial considerations also play a pivotal role. The organization's revenue streams include donations, partnerships, and media ventures. While publicly available documents provide a degree of transparency, the complexity of financial flows, compensation arrangements, and operational expenses leaves room for interpretation and potential misinterpretation. Analysts and insiders alike note that high-profile organizations often face intense attention to financial management, and any ambiguity can invite formal inquiry, especially when linked to public figures with global visibility. The legal probe initiated by Princess and adds a formal mechanism to investigate these issues. Beyond media speculation, formal inquiry allows for a structured examination of records, communications, and operational decisions. It also signals that accountability is not optional, even for high-profile, publicly celebrated initiatives. For Archewell, this is a moment of reckoning. Internal processes, leadership decisions, and governance frameworks will be scrutinized in ways that could reveal both strengths and vulnerabilities. Public reaction to Archewell's challenges has been polarized. Supporters emphasize the couple's commitment to social good, framing the organization as a vehicle for meaningful change that operates in a challenging, high-profile environment. Critics, meanwhile, question transparency, effectiveness, and motives, often framing Archewell as emblematic of excess or mismanagement. Social media amplifies these divisions, creating a feedback loop in which every action is dissected, debated, and amplified. This environment leaves little room for private resolution, meaning that organizational challenges quickly become matters of public concern. The pressure is further compounded by the global attention on Meghan and Harry as individuals. Archewell cannot be separated from the personalities and public narratives of its founders. Their decisions, communications, and public appearances inevitably reflect on the organization. Every legal action, every media appearance, and every strategic decision carries the potential to influence public perception and, by extension, the probe itself. The interplay between personal reputation and organizational accountability creates a uniquely high-stakes environment. Historical parallels provide additional context. Other high-profile charitable organizations founded by celebrities or public figures have faced scrutiny over financial practices, governance, and operational transparency. In many cases, the combination of public visibility, complex financial arrangements, and leadership challenges has led to formal investigations or media controversy. Archewell's situation mirrors these patterns, but with an added layer of complexity due to its connection to the British monarchy, a centuries-old institution with deeply embedded expectations of propriety, duty, and oversight. The questions now facing Archewell are both practical and existential. How will the organization navigate the probe without compromising its mission or public credibility? Will leadership decisions and operational practices withstand formal scrutiny? And crucially, how will Meghan and Harry balance the demands of public perception, personal reputation, and organizational accountability in the face of formal investigation? Each answer carries implications for the organization, the couple, and the broader narrative surrounding modern royalty and philanthropy. Moreover, the probe raises larger questions about accountability in modern charitable organizations. In a world where influence is increasingly tied to visibility, transparency becomes not only a legal necessity, but also a moral imperative. Archewell's challenges underscore the delicate balance between ambition, innovation, and accountability, highlighting the risks inherent in operating at the intersection of celebrity, philanthropy, and public scrutiny. Yet even as scrutiny intensifies, surprises are inevitable. Past leaks, insider accounts, and media speculation suggest that there may be undisclosed developments, contradictions in narratives, and unexpected revelations that could dramatically alter the public's understanding of Archewell. Each new detail has the potential to shift perception, reshape media narratives, and influence the outcomes of formal inquiries. The organization's story is not static. It is unfolding in real time, with consequences that extend beyond internal operations to the global perception of the Sussexes and their role in contemporary royalty. As the investigation progresses, attention will inevitably focus on specific aspects of Archewell's operations, financial management, governance structures, communication practices, and strategic decision-making. Each of these dimensions carries the potential for discovery, surprise, or confirmation. For those watching closely, the unfolding developments provide insight into the interplay between influence, responsibility, and accountability at the highest levels. And just when it seemed that Archewell's challenges could be contained within organizational and public discourse, whispers began to emerge. Whispers of internal conflicts, contractual disputes, and communications that could complicate the narrative in ways no one anticipated. The potential for explosive revelations looms, promising that the story is far from over and that the consequences may extend well beyond the organization itself. But what came next would change everything, and no one saw it coming. The headline flashed across screens worldwide, instantly igniting a storm of speculation. Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, is facing a significant lawsuit. For someone who has spent years navigating the intense glare of public scrutiny, this legal challenge represents a complex intersection of personal, professional, and public pressures. It is not merely a court case. It is a high-stakes drama that could reveal intimate details, challenge public perceptions, and potentially redefine Meghan's image both within the United Kingdom and across the globe. From the outset, it is important to understand the gravity of a lawsuit involving a figure of Meghan Markle's visibility. In ordinary circumstances, legal actions are formal, procedural, and often discreet. In this case, however, every filing, statement, and court appearance becomes part of a narrative consumed by millions. The stakes are amplified not just by the substance of the legal claims, but by the global attention that surrounds them. A simple procedural hearing can turn into a headline. A line in a filing can dominate social media discourse. The courtroom is no longer a private space. It is a stage upon which reputations, narratives, and historical perceptions are contested. The lawsuit itself is rooted in allegations that challenge aspects of Meghan's professional and personal conduct. While the specifics are subject to ongoing legal proceedings, reports indicate that the claims touch on matters of contractual obligations, financial dealings, and public statements. Each allegation, if substantiated, has the potential to impact her credibility, her brand, and the broader narrative surrounding the Sussexes' independence from royal structures. It is not merely a question of legal liability. It is a question of perception, trust, and influence. Understanding the context of this lawsuit requires examining Meghan's broader public and professional trajectory. From her early acting career to her marriage into the royal family, Meghan has cultivated a public persona that blends sophistication, activism, and resilience. Her work with charitable organizations, her media presence, and her advocacy on issues ranging from mental health to gender equality have all contributed to a highly visible, globally recognized profile. Yet visibility comes with vulnerability. Every action, every decision, and every communication is subject to scrutiny, and in the context of a legal challenge, what was once private or speculative can become formal evidence. The implications of the lawsuit extend far beyond Meghan herself. Prince Harry, as her partner and co-founder of various joint initiatives, is inevitably linked to these proceedings, even if indirectly. Their shared brand, public statements, and collaborative projects can all be affected by the legal scrutiny. For the royal family, too, the lawsuit adds an additional layer of complexity. While Harry and Meghan have stepped back from senior duties, their actions continue to reflect upon the monarchy, raising questions about public perception, institutional responsibility, and the intersection between private lives and public roles. Financial considerations are central to understanding the stakes. Legal disputes often involve assessments of financial liability, damages, and contractual obligations. For Meghan, the lawsuit could entail not only reputational risk, but also potential financial consequences. In an era where personal branding, media ventures, and philanthropic activities intersect, financial outcomes of legal actions can influence public perception, business opportunities, and strategic decisions. Every filing and disclosure becomes part of a broader narrative about accountability, responsibility, and credibility. The timing of the lawsuit amplifies its impact. Coming in the wake of Princess Anne's legal probe into Archewell and amid widespread media speculation about the Sussex divorce, it converges with a period of heightened scrutiny for the couple. The combination of organizational investigation, personal legal challenge, and family transitions creates a pressure cooker environment in which every development is magnified, analyzed, and interpreted. Analysts, commentators, and social media users are all attempting to connect the dots, often speculating on motivations, implications, and potential outcomes. Public reaction to the lawsuit is polarized. Some supporters view it as an unfair targeting of Meghan, a reflection of broader societal biases, and a continuation of media intrusion into her life. Others frame it as a necessary inquiry into accountability, transparency, and ethical behavior, emphasizing that public figures must answer for their actions. Social media platforms amplify these debates, turning what might otherwise be a private legal matter into a public spectacle with lasting implications. The emotional intensity of the discourse, ranging from outrage to sympathy, underscores the unique challenges faced by high-profile individuals in navigating legal scrutiny. The lawsuit also highlights the intersection of law, media, and narrative control. In high-profile cases, legal filings are not merely procedural documents. They become instruments in shaping public understanding. Selective leaks, interpretations of language, and media framing all influence perception. For Meghan, this dynamic presents a dual challenge, defending the substance of the claims while also managing the broader narrative about her integrity, professionalism, and intentions. Every statement, every action, and every court appearance becomes a strategic consideration. Historical parallels provide further insight. High-profile figures, particularly those with celebrity or political status, have often faced legal challenges that extend beyond the courtroom. Court documents, witness testimony, and legal outcomes become fodder for public discussion, media analysis, and social commentary. In many instances, the reputational consequences of litigation exceed the material consequences, affecting brand value, influence, and social standing. Meghan's situation echoes these patterns, but with the added dimension of her connection to the royal family, a centuries-old institution with rigid expectations, protocols, and public scrutiny. Inside the legal process, every detail is consequential. Contracts, communications, financial records, and prior agreements are examined meticulously. Witnesses may be called to testify, documents may be scrutinized line by line, and legal strategies are designed to establish credibility, liability, or mitigation. The meticulous nature of legal work contrasts sharply with the fast-paced, sensationalized coverage of the media, yet both dimensions shape the unfolding narrative. The courtroom and the court of public opinion operate simultaneously, each influencing perception and potential outcomes. the emotional dimension cannot be overlooked. Legal proceedings are inherently stressful, demanding, and intrusive. For Meghan, the lawsuit represents a convergence of professional responsibility, personal stakes, and public visibility. Emotional resilience becomes critical, as the process tests not only legal acumen, but also the capacity to maintain composure, credibility, and strategic clarity under intense scrutiny. Allies, advisors, and support systems play an important role, yet the public nature of the proceedings magnifies every challenge. Moreover, the lawsuit is part of a broader pattern of scrutiny surrounding the Sussexes. Financial, organizational, and personal matters are increasingly intertwined, creating a narrative web in which every development has cascading effects. The legal challenge is both a reflection of this environment and a potential catalyst for further revelations. Every filing, statement, and motion carries the potential to influence not only legal outcomes, but also public perception, media narratives, and institutional responses. As the case unfolds, attention will focus on several key areas: the validity of the claims, the credibility of evidence, the interpretation of contracts or agreements, and the broader implications for organizational and personal accountability. Each dimension carries both legal and reputational weight. Analysts, media outlets, and the public will scrutinize developments meticulously, amplifying the stakes and intensifying the pressure on all parties involved. The lawsuit also intersects with the confirmed Sussex divorce, adding another layer of personal complexity. Divorce, particularly under public scrutiny, is fraught with emotional and logistical challenges. Legal proceedings, financial settlements, and custody considerations all intersect with ongoing public narratives, creating an environment in which personal decisions are inseparable from public perception. For Meghan, the convergence of divorce proceedings, legal challenges, and media attention represents an unprecedented test of resilience, strategy, and influence. Yet, for all the scrutiny, unanswered questions remain. What specific evidence will emerge during the proceedings? How will Meghan and her legal team respond to each claim? What unforeseen revelations might surface that could shift the narrative dramatically? In high-profile cases, surprises are almost guaranteed, and every development carries the potential to redefine public understanding, media coverage, and institutional responses. The lawsuit is more than a legal matter. It is a reflection of the intersection between personal agency, public accountability, and institutional expectation. Meghan Markle's journey, from actress to duchess to independent public figure, has been marked by both opportunity and scrutiny. The current legal challenge crystallizes these tensions, highlighting the complex interplay between influence, responsibility, and public perception. And just when it seemed that the lawsuit was the central drama, an unexpected detail emerged, a revelation that could complicate the proceedings, challenge assumptions, and introduce a new dimension to the unfolding saga. The implications are far-reaching, the outcomes uncertain, and the narrative far from complete. But what came next would change everything, and no one saw it coming. After years of speculation, tabloid rumors, and palace whispers, the news finally became official. The Sussex divorce is confirmed. For Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, the confirmation marks a watershed moment in a story that has captivated the world, blending elements of romance, scandal, power, and personal struggle. Yet beyond the headlines and sensationalist coverage lies a story that is as complex emotionally as it is publicly visible, a narrative where personal choices collide with institutional expectations and global attention. The announcement came amid an already intense period for the couple. Princess Anne's legal probe into Archewell had drawn attention to organizational scrutiny, while Meghan Markle faced a lawsuit that threatened her public image and financial stability. Against this backdrop, confirmation of the divorce adds another layer of complexity, a personal upheaval with public consequences. It is not merely the end of a marriage. It is a seismic shift in the narrative of one of the most watched couples in modern history. To understand the implications of this divorce, one must first consider the timeline of Harry and Meghan's relationship. From their high-profile courtship to their fairy tale wedding in 2018, the couple's union was celebrated globally, framed as a modern fairy tale bridging royalty and modern celebrity culture. Early public appearances showcased a charismatic partnership, with shared engagements and philanthropic initiatives presenting a united front. Yet beneath the public glamour, tensions reportedly simmered. Pressures from media intrusion, institutional expectations, and personal adjustments created strains that were not always visible to the public. The decision to step back from senior royal duties, announced in 2020, already signaled a dramatic shift in the couple's relationship with the monarchy. While framed publicly as a pursuit of independence and autonomy, the move exposed the couple to new pressures, including financial self-sufficiency, public scrutiny, and the challenge of balancing family loyalty with personal ambitions. Analysts have suggested that the decision to step back was both empowering and destabilizing, introducing new freedoms while simultaneously eroding traditional support structures. Within this context, the divorce represents the culmination of tensions and choices that have been building for years. Sources close to the couple suggest that differences in priorities, lifestyle adjustments, and personal ambitions contributed to the eventual decision. The precise details remain closely guarded, but it is clear that the divorce is not merely a legal procedure. It is a deeply personal resolution to a period of profound transition. Emotional complexity is unavoidable, as both individuals navigate the end of a partnership that has been intensely scrutinized by the public, the media, and the royal institution. Public reaction has been immediate and varied. Fans of the Sussexes have expressed shock, sympathy, and concern, emphasizing the personal struggles and pressures that accompany life in the global spotlight. Critics, meanwhile, have framed the divorce as evidence of instability, challenges in adapting to royal norms, or as part of a broader narrative of controversy surrounding the couple. Social media platforms have become arenas for debate, with every post, comment, and opinion amplifying emotional intensity and public engagement. The polarized reception underscores the unique challenges of personal decisions in an era where private lives are globalized and constantly mediated through media channels. Financial considerations also play a critical role in understanding the divorce. High-profile separations often involve complex arrangements related to assets, income, and ongoing ventures. For Harry and Meghan, this includes considerations related to Archewell, media projects, and financial obligations tied to public and private endeavors. Legal settlements, property arrangements, and financial disclosures are likely to be meticulously negotiated, with both parties seeking to balance personal needs, professional aspirations, and public perception. These negotiations are further complicated by the global visibility of the couple, ensuring that every decision carries reputational as well as practical consequences. Beyond financial and logistical concerns, the divorce intersects with questions of public image and narrative control. The Sussexes have cultivated a distinct identity as modern, independent royals, emphasizing activism, social justice, and humanitarian engagement. The confirmation of the divorce introduces a new chapter in that narrative, requiring careful navigation to maintain credibility, coherence, and public support. Strategic communication, public appearances, and media engagement become tools not merely of explanation, but of reputation management, ensuring that personal developments do not undermine broader objectives. The emotional dimension of the divorce cannot be overstated. Relationships conducted under public scrutiny are inherently complex, and the pressures experienced by Harry and Meghan are intensified by global attention. Emotional resilience, mutual support, and personal reflection are critical, yet the constant visibility of personal developments adds stress and uncertainty. Analysts and commentators have noted that the couple's experiences reflect broader challenges faced by public figures balancing personal fulfillment, professional responsibilities, and societal expectations. The Sussex divorce becomes not just a private matter, but a lens through which to examine the interplay of human emotion, public scrutiny, and institutional influence. Historical parallels provide context for understanding the significance of the divorce. The royal family has experienced high-profile separations and marital challenges in the past, from Prince Charles and Princess Diana to other public figures navigating expectations and public perception. These precedents highlight patterns of media scrutiny, public reaction, and institutional response. Yet the Sussex divorce is distinct in its combination of celebrity, modern media dynamics, and the couple's explicit efforts to carve an independent path. Unlike previous separations that remained largely within institutional frameworks, this divorce unfolds in a hypervisible, globalized context where every action is analyzed and interpreted. The implications of the divorce extend beyond Harry and Meghan. The royal family, already navigating multiple challenges, must consider both institutional precedent and public perception. How does the confirmation affect perceptions of unity, stability, and tradition? How will other members respond privately and publicly? What precedents does this set for relationships, roles, and responsibilities within the monarchy? These questions are not merely academic. They carry tangible consequences for the institution's credibility, cohesion, and public trust. Media coverage has been relentless. Every aspect of the divorce, from timing to potential reasons, financial arrangements to custody considerations, has been dissected, analyzed, and debated. Headlines alternate between sensationalism and sympathetic framing, reflecting broader cultural narratives about marriage, celebrity, and royalty. Social media amplifies these narratives, often introducing contradictions, speculation, and emotional intensity that further complicate the public understanding of the divorce. The result is a dynamic environment in which perception is continually contested, and each new development reshapes the story. The intersection of the divorce with ongoing legal and organizational scrutiny adds additional layers of complexity. Princess Anne's probe into Archewell and Meghan's lawsuit are not isolated events. They converge with the divorce to create a multidimensional narrative in which personal, professional, and institutional factors interact. Each development has the potential to influence the others, creating a feedback loop in which legal, organizational, and emotional dimensions are inseparable. Analysts suggest that this convergence heightens stakes, increases pressure, and ensures that outcomes will have far-reaching implications. Even as the divorce is confirmed, unanswered questions remain. How will the couple navigate co-parenting, financial settlements, and public engagement? What internal dynamics within the royal family will be affected? How will public perception evolve over time? In high-profile separations, these questions are both complex and highly visible, creating an environment in which every choice is scrutinized and every development carries narrative weight. And just when it seemed that the divorce marked the apex of personal upheaval, insiders began hinting at unexpected developments, financial arrangements, legal complications, or personal revelations that could dramatically alter the trajectory of the story. These emerging details promise that the narrative is far from settled, and that the consequences of the divorce may ripple across personal, professional, and institutional domains in ways that no one anticipated. But what came next would change everything, and no one saw it coming. When news of Princess Anne's legal probe, Meghan Markle's lawsuit, and the confirmed Sussex divorce reached Buckingham Palace, it did more than make headlines. It sent shockwaves through one of the most scrutinized institutions in the world. The royal family, often portrayed as a seamless embodiment of tradition, duty, and unity, faced a moment that tested the very fabric of its internal dynamics. What happens behind the closed doors of royal residences when scandal, legal scrutiny, and personal upheaval collide is a story seldom told, yet it is central to understanding the stakes, strategies, and emotional undercurrents driving the unfolding drama. At the heart of the palace response lies a delicate balancing act, maintaining institutional integrity while managing the intense personal dimensions of family relationships. Royals are not merely public figures. They are part of a centuries-old institution that relies on cohesion, discretion, and protocol. A legal probe into Archewell by Princess Anne is unprecedented in modern memory, particularly given that it involves a family member who has stepped back from senior duties. The message to staff, advisors, and other family members is clear. Accountability applies to everyone, regardless of personal relationships, public image, or global influence. Princess Anne herself is a figure of authority and discipline. Known as the most hardworking and no-nonsense member of the royal family, she has long been respected for her diligence, attention to detail, and commitment to duty. Her decision to initiate a legal probe sends a ripple through the palace hierarchy. Advisors, staff, and family members understand that this is not a symbolic gesture. It is a formal, actionable process with potentially far-reaching consequences. Privately, this likely sparked intense conversations about precedent, strategy, and damage control. Inside Buckingham Palace, responses to these developments are complex and varied. Some family members reportedly sympathize with Meghan and Harry, recognizing the immense pressures of life in the public eye and the personal sacrifices involved in royal duties. Others are believed to be concerned about the implications for the institution, the potential for reputational damage, and the broader narrative about family cohesion. Balancing empathy with institutional responsibility creates tension that is rarely visible to the public but profoundly influences decision-making and internal communications. Media coverage of the royal reaction is necessarily speculative, relying on statements, appearances, and carefully curated interviews. Yet those who have followed palace dynamics for decades note that every action is informed by layers of protocol, personal relationships, and long-standing cultural norms. Advisors craft statements with precision, weigh public perception against private sentiment, and anticipate the ripple effects of every disclosure. The palace's internal deliberations are therefore a mix of strategic calculation and human emotion, reflecting the dual realities of family and institution. The confirmed Sussex divorce added another layer of complexity to these internal reactions. Divorce is inherently a personal matter, but within the context of a royal family, it becomes a matter of institutional consequence. Questions about titles, public roles, property, and ceremonial duties must be navigated with sensitivity and foresight. Every decision has potential public impact, influencing perceptions of unity, stability, and relevance. For senior members like Princess and Prince Charles and Queen Consort Camilla, the challenge is to manage these developments in ways that protect both family cohesion and institutional reputation. Staff dynamics are also deeply affected. Palace aides, communications teams, and legal advisors suddenly face a convergence of responsibilities. Coordinating media messaging, preparing for potential legal scrutiny, and managing internal communications while maintaining discretion. Leaks, rumors, and speculation are constant threats, requiring constant vigilance and careful narrative control. Those on the front lines of palace operations experience a rare intensity, where decisions must be made quickly, yet with long-term consequences in mind. Historically, the royal family has faced crises that tested internal cohesion, from marital breakdowns to public controversies, but the current confluence of legal probes, lawsuits, and divorce is unique. It combines personal upheaval, institutional accountability, and global media scrutiny in ways that are unprecedented. For senior family members, navigating this landscape demands a combination of strategic foresight, emotional intelligence, and political acumen. Every statement, private conversation, and decision carries potential ramifications across multiple domains. Reactions also vary based on generational perspectives. Senior members, steeped in tradition and protocol, prioritize institutional stability and discretion. Younger members, who may be more attuned to media narratives and public opinion, may prioritize personal expression and narrative control. These differing priorities create a nuanced and sometimes tense internal environment, where consensus is difficult and decisions are layered with both personal and institutional considerations. At the same time, the royal family must consider the broader public. British and global audiences are intensely interested in every development, interpreting actions through cultural, historical, and emotional lenses. The family's response, therefore, is not just an internal matter. It is also a carefully calibrated public strategy. Every public appearance, statement, and ceremonial engagement is filtered through the prism of public perception, requiring precise management to maintain credibility and avoid further scandal. Psychologically, these events are taxing. Royals are trained to manage emotion, maintain composure, and adhere to protocol, yet the convergence of a legal probe, lawsuit, and divorce creates high-stress conditions. Family members reportedly experience a mix of concern, frustration, empathy, and strategic calculation. Long-standing relationships are tested, and private conversations are imbued with caution and careful framing. The palace becomes a pressure cooker where both human emotion and institutional responsibility collide. One particularly sensitive dimension is the question of loyalty and impartiality. Princess Anne's involvement in the Archewell probe, for instance, underscores a tension between familial bonds and duty to the institution. In private, these dynamics can create strain, as decisions perceived as impartial by protocol may feel personal to those affected. Navigating this duality requires exceptional judgment, an understanding of institutional priorities, and the ability to maintain relationships while enforcing standards. The media's portrayal of royal reactions further complicates internal dynamics. Every statement, gesture, and appearance is scrutinized, analyzed, and often distorted. Rumors of internal conflict, strained relationships, and strategic maneuvering proliferate, adding pressure to the family's internal communication and decision-making processes. Maintaining narrative control while honoring personal relationships becomes a continuous challenge, requiring both legal and public relations expertise. Historically, crises of this magnitude often precipitate long-term institutional reflection. Policies, protocols, and decision-making processes may be re-evaluated to ensure accountability and stability in future situations. Senior royals may use this moment to assess governance structures, advisory frameworks, and crisis management strategies, not just in response to the immediate events, but to anticipate potential future challenges. The decisions made behind closed doors today could shape the monarchy's approach to family, public engagement, and accountability for years to come. Yet, for all the planning, strategizing, and emotional management, surprises remain inevitable. Unforeseen disclosures, media leaks, or personal decisions can quickly alter the internal dynamics and public narrative.